The last show of the 2025 season played out at the amphitheatre of Brands Hatch, and we welcome a double touring car champion to the Roll of Honour. This is the Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit Review.
Hello and welcome back to the British Touring Car Podcast. 163 days have now passed and we have crowned yet another British Touring Car champion. As Russ has already said, we're going to bring you up to date with all the action that happened at Brands Hatch this weekend. Our thoughts go out to those people caught underneath that tree on Saturday morning, and we wish you well.
Yeah, the first red flag I've ever seen based on foliage reasons. It is interesting that foliage causes a red flag and a fire does not, but obviously, all jokes aside, hope everybody involved is okay. And of course, anybody that camped over the weekend, I hope the damages aren't too high. Having camped at Brands Hatch in October myself in wet conditions, one can only imagine how difficult the breeze added to the situation.
Yeah, we're going to bring you up to date with all the action from this weekend. But what were your opening thoughts of the weekend?
A little bit flat, if I'm being perfectly honest. Tom Ingram came into the weekend with a 33-point lead, which effectively meant unless Sutton won races 2 and 3 with Ingram scoring zilch or next to zilch, there wasn't much of a contest there, and so it came to pass. I think the Jack Sears was kind of ruined a little bit through bad luck to the main two drivers. Obviously, both of them had a non-finish, which made it difficult, particularly then in race 3, where you've got the Hunter coming from the back of the grid.
It almost tried to equal itself out when there was a non-finish in race 2 for the other competitor, but it was a little bit too much to overcome.
Yeah, and then in the independents, ultimately Lloyd probably had enough of a lead in hindsight. We thought it was going to be a lot closer, perhaps on the preview, but in hindsight, with the smaller class, he pretty much had that wrapped up by just finishing the races as well. I was a bit disappointed with what happened in race 3, but we'll get to that shortly. I do think the teams and manufacturers was interesting because of what happened towards the end of the day. And I do think there's quite a few good stories up and down the paddock. Obviously, Josh Cook getting his first win of the season, Senna on the podium, which I completely missed, to be honest with you. Toyota's ending the season really well. But I think in reality, there was a 33-point gap. The maximum you can score is 67. Even if you took all 67, I tried to work out maths. The best you could do next is take around 50 points, because you could still take the 2 for leading a lap, etc. So the task was very, very high for Ash. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was a little lackluster, a little underwhelming in the end. I would like a few more close battles on circuit between competitors, and especially competitors looking to take advantage at the top of each of those championships. As you say, the teams and the manufacturers one came to an interesting end, which we'll get onto. But let us know your thoughts and feelings of the weekend and of the season as a whole. We're going to bring you up to date with obviously everything that's happened this weekend. We'll have an award show for you. We're going to have a grade show for you just to see how each driver performed over the season. Let us know any bits and pieces you'd like us to take a look at in the off season, because although the season's over, we're going to keep on bringing you content all the way up until late December.
Shall we start on Saturday then, which is qualifying day, and sort of the headlines, because there's a lot to get through. Tom Ingram won the Quentin Tarantino Award for the Wingfoot.
The most important award.
That was his weekend made after that, wasn't it? He had a decent qualifying session, struggled to get into the fast 6, as you'd imagine, but crucially got ahead of Ash Sutton, finishing 7th. Sutton could only manage 12th in his Ford, and did sort of intimate to the Wees in the interviews afterwards that they just didn't get the setup right, they didn't get the speed out of the car, and they were struggling.
I would say that Napa seems to have struggled, especially in the second half of the season, for some pace in qualifying. We saw early on the season Camish taking pole positions and looking really quick, and even in the hands of Rowbottom as well. But it just seems to have fallen off slightly.
In fairness to Camish, he would have thought he had pole made as the session was coming to a close, only for Daryl De Leon to pip him right at the last for his back-to-back poles. Obviously took pole at Silverstone as well. So a real strong ending to the season for De Leon.
It's a change to see a BMW actually set a really quick time towards the end of the session as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Hill was in the last session as well, so the BMWs had gone quite well, but just couldn't quite get anything sort of hooked up in that final session. We also saw some strife for Mikey Doble, who dropped it at high speed, as did Dexter Patterson, and Josh Cook didn't get out of session 1 because he had power failure and had to pull to the side of the road for him. So interesting up and down. If you look at the championship point of view, De Leon, obviously Jack Sears contender, was on pole, and his rival Rainford could only manage 8th. Okay, second in class, but lots of cars between him and De Leon, sorry. Then Camish and Rowbottom, proving your theory slightly wrong, finishing second and third. Chilton 4th, Adam Morgan 5th, and Jake Hill in 6th in the quick 6. Then Ingram out-qualifying Sutton, as I say, 7 to 11. And then in the independents, we saw Chris Smiley top that one ahead of Daniel Lloyd, 14th and 15th. And then Mikey Doble separated by Dexter Patterson. So all four independent drivers together. And then Sam Osborne also, who had an outside shot at the Jack Sears, finishing down in 18th. So the session really followed what we've seen all year. As the season goes on and the boost becomes more and more important.
There was a sprinkling of rain during the session as well, wasn't there?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Not really. The camera it's one of those where the camera got a little bit wet, but realistically, it makes no difference.
Yeah,
it threatened to rain, but didn't quite come through. So yeah, it kind of followed what we've seen this year in qualifying. As the season's gone on, you need boost. If you haven't got boost, you're going to struggle.
Unless you're in a Hyundai.
Well, even then, Ingram could only manage 7. Yeah. He's missed the top 6 a couple of times this season. But you can just win it back on race day when your teammates who qualify ahead of you let you through. So.
We'll get into race 1 now. And on the Sunday, much drier. No rain at all, no weather, quite nice clear skies by quite surprise. For race 1, Ingram and Sutton will both be starting on the medium tyre. So I think you had to run 2 mediums and 1 soft this weekend. There was an engine change overnight for Josh Cook. It was found that he had low oil pressure, which caused engine failure, which with the new M Sport engine in that is a little surprising.
It is, but these things can go wrong.
They can.
Just randomly, can't they?
Yeah. So the front 2 rows started on the soft tyre, as well as Doble and a couple of other drivers further down the field. Drivers down the field trying to make the most of that early race to try and get through the field and possibly get one up on their other championship competitors. And then, unfortunately, Daryl De Leon's bad luck
from pole
hits again. From pole position, he felt something strange on the formation lap. Got on the radio to his engineers and said, look, something's not right, and it didn't get any better. So he had to come into the pits at the end of the formation lap and therefore would not take pole position effectively, because you have to start from pole position to be given a pole position award.
Because Doble got his stripped technically.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's such a pity, isn't it?
At this point, Russ was quite happy not. You were a little disappointed because he was your Jack Sears hopeful, and it was edging towards possibly.
It's been the story of my season.
Putting me one up in the predictions.
I've been through to ratify the predictions today. And the amount of times that the amount of points I've lost through bad luck, a disqualification of somebody, I can't believe the luck I've had this year in terms of that. And that's just been the story of my season.
Yep. There was a very equal start at the front, though. Camish got off to a pretty easy one, got clear nice and early, and looked fairly untouchable in race 1. We didn't actually see much coverage of him because no one was really trying to battle him. Chilton and Robo were switching and swapping around and touching door mirrors and getting themselves into Chilton and Robot things.
Yeah, basically what they've been doing all season,
and then on the opening lap, coming down to Hawthorns, Hill had a front left puncher, which it looked like a massive lockup first of all.
It did, yes.
But then we saw him pull into one side and him having to come into the pits at the end of that lap. So it was a pretty poor start for WSR as a team, and it wasn't going to get much better.
No, of course, Jake Hill saying goodbye to the series, and anybody had missed that. I can't believe you've been listening to this and not knowing that. But if you are, obviously Jake Hill bowing out of the season and the series at the end of this race.
By the end of lap 1, obviously with De Leon coming into the pits before the start of the race, Hill coming in as well. Ingram was up to 5th and Sutton was up to 9th. And Lloyd made up a massive 7 places on that opening lap.
On the soft tyre.
He just seemed to pick the right gaps at the right time and made really good progress. Yes, he was on that softer tyre, but there were a couple of other drivers down there that made nowhere near the amount of progress.
No, I agree. And I think you say it right. He picked his way through the field very nicely.
Yep, he certainly did. Chilton was back to some old Chilton antics. He was forcing the door open into Druids on lap 3 on Rowbottom. Those two having a bit of a battle this weekend. And then shortly followed by Morgan also following through. Rowbottom seemed to lack a little bit of early pace in this race.
Yeah, surprising, particularly given that Camish had gone ahead. I do wonder if part of it was manufacturer and team's point of view that obviously Camish and Sutton were the elected title or the elected points scorers this weekend. Proctor, interestingly, and Ingram were for Virtue, so not Chiltern. So I do wonder if there's a little bit of discussion ahead of race 1 saying, right, you're not scoring points to the team this weekend.
Yep.
Let Dan get away and make sure we can try and put ourselves in the best position for those 2 championships.
Yeah, Rainford managed to get up to 3rd position following contact between Morgan and Rowbottom. And then we had Housestead come into pits on lap 4, which unfortunately is a
reoccurring theme
and not the way that you wanted to end his season and BTCC career by the look of it. Sutton was having to defend quite stoutly from Aaron Taylor-Smith onto lap 5, who was certainly putting the cat amongst the pigeons.
Yeah, Sutton just lacked the pace. I don't know, obviously you might be able to explain Rowbottom's away for the reasons I gave you. Sutton just had nothing in this race at all on the medium tyre.
He was on the medium tyre, but he was struggling to make the progress that we've seen him do on a medium tyre previously.
He went medium in race 2 and was very good.
Yeah.
So
it almost felt like maybe there was a little bit of a setup issue, or that set of tyres just didn't agree with how the car was set up.
Agreed.
Camish was fairly unchallenged out front, as I've said, and then we had the third bit of bad luck for WSR with Moffat getting a meatball flag, having to be called into the pits, and then compounding that issue by speeding in the pit lane to then get a drive-through penalty. Which, if you tot up Moffat's season, it doesn't look brilliant on that side of things, does it?
The problem is I still don't know what the meatball flag was for, because we never actually saw the incident or the bodywork that was allegedly flapping. So I can't comment on whether it was a harsh or fair cop meatball flag, because...
No, the only thing I can say is that he apparently had a spin again, which we didn't see. That may have involved contact. We don't know.
We saw in the minis that what the camera shows and what actually happens might not be the same thing, shall we say.
Have you seen the statement from him today?
I have indeed, yes. Yeah, not very happy.
No. Then we had a Shedden dive bomb on Lloyd onto lap 8.
It's a really good move.
It was a really good move. Really late. One of those classic, almost like Matt Neal Plato dive bombs into paddock. Kind of caught Lloyd unawares.
I just
was just really, really good on the brakes.
Yeah, I just think Lloyd took his usual racing line and thought there's no way he's going to come from here, and he did. I said it to you yesterday, and I've said it a couple of times. Where would Toyota be if they just started the season with that engine? Because Shedden and Cook in particular, a little bit Aaron Taylor-Smith as well, post that engine change, are different drivers. Absolutely different drivers.
I don't think Aaron Taylor-Smith has had the best of luck since that change to the M Sport
He's not
engine.
helped himself at times, has he?
No, certainly not. But yeah, we do seem to be seeing a different Shedden and a different Cook since that has happened.
Let's see if either of them stay there for next season, of course.
It'll be interesting. There are certainly going to be places to play for, with drivers leaving the grid and also positionings opening up with new teams. Ingram still sitting comfortably in 5th. Seemed fairly happy once he knew he was comfortably ahead of Sutton. He could just sit there and almost take the race in. And if he needed to make a move, you almost felt like he still had a little bit more in the tank to give.
Agreed.
Whereas Sutton was sort of struggling in 9th.
Yeah, he just couldn't make any forward progress whatsoever. As I said, just had no pace in the car.
Rainford then got a little roughed up by Morgan. On lap 11. Going on to the GP circuit, he was pushed wide, shall we say, in a diplomatic sense.
Yeah, we've discussed these sort of moves in the past. You've got to leave a car's width on the outside. Morgan did not leave a car's width on the outside. And in that particular corner, you can't really back out of it if you're already on that line.
No.
So I'm surprised that they didn't give the position back on the road and they were willing to fight it in the steward's bus, particularly given that the teams and manufacturers wasn't on the line for Morgan per se.
Yep.
But on the flip side, I guess, it ultimately didn't matter to his race regardless. Charles would feel a little bit disappointed because obviously
it could have mattered quite a lot to Charles's race if he'd have been left in a barrier. Though.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But yeah, we'll see. There were reoccurrence or recompense for those issues.
Yeah, I'll get on to the penalties at the end of the race, yeah.
Smiley then managed to power past Sutton down to Hawthorne, so onto the back straight, obviously where Camish had his massive accident with the brake failure. It was a boost pass, but it was set up really nicely coming out onto the GP circuit, and Smiley eased past. But big moment from Smiley would then cause Sutton to get back through. This was down at Graham Hill Bend, almost like lost the back end, maybe locked the rears and slid wide.
Yeah, Yeah, did well to keep it out of the gravel, but it's very easy to let Sutton through there, isn't it?
Yeah, getting towards the end of the race now, and Chilton and Morgan were having a little tete-a-tete, weren't they? And battling between each other. It didn't come to anything important.
No, just nip and tuck. Both free to race.
Yeah,
Apply rules.
Definitely. But neither of them were really getting that much closer to challenge Camish.
No, can't and every time Chilton sort of looked like he might be catching, Camish would then extend the gap. So he was very much controlling the gap, controlling the pace. Yeah.
So Camish would go on to take the win, his third of the season, which would go some way, especially with the issues that Hill had, to helping him secure third in the championship. Agreed. So the final running order for race 1 then was Camish from Chilton from Morgan, Rainford in 4th, Jack Sears win, but obviously those positions not being switched back from that overtake with Morgan. Ingram in 5th from Rowbottom 6th, Shedden 7th, Lloyd independent winner in 8th, ahead of Sutton, who, as we said, got ahead of Smiley in 10th. From Cook, Aaron Taylor-Smith, Proctor, Doble and Osborne.
So in penalty corner, and this might clear a few things up. So before the race, Josh Cook was deducted 15 points from the Drivers' Championship, and IAA were deducted 30 points from either manufacturers, constructors and or teams.
Not that it really matters.
No, for having an engine above the permitted number changed. Okay, race 1. There are 4 penalties to get through, so just bear with me quickly. Adam Morgan received an official reprimand and 2 penalty points on his licence for failing to leave space on the edge of the track in an incident involving Charles Rainford, as we discussed, fairly cut and dry. I didn't actually see this one. Senna Proctor received a verbal warning for causing a collision in an incident involving Aidan Moffat. Maybe might have been what caused his damage or his spin.
Sounds likely. They were in the same sort of area when they started the race.
Although Chris Smiley also received an official reprimand, 2 penalty points on his licence for causing a collision and gaining an advantage in an incident involving Aidan Moffat. So which one?
Really?
Which one was which? I don't know. And then Aaron Taylor-Smith received an official reprimand and 2 penalty points for causing an incident and gaining an advantage in an incident involving Aidan Moffat. So
he had a busy race then.
Moffat, bless him, was caught in 3 different people's incidents, and we saw none of them.
And he wasn't at fault for any, by the sound of it.
No, and we saw none of them. So, usual TV direction there.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Please make it better next year, ITV.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Right, race number 2 then. And Ingram opted for the soft tyre, as did Gordon Shedden. Sutton opted for the medium. I wasn't sure. I've seen 2 ways of looking at this.
Yeah.
One was, is that an admission that is basically done? Or do you win the race on mediums or get as high as you can and then save yourself a pair of softs, hoping something goes wrong for Ingram, who would have to run medium from the back of the grid?
Yeah.
Problem is, if Ingram did run medium from the back of the grid, he'd probably still get a podium.
I think he'd still get well inside the top 10.
But I suppose it probably was just about the right decision. To a degree, I always bring an F1 analogy in. If he stays out, you come in, vice versa, and you sort of go opposite of what your competitor's going to do to try and create something. I kind of get it. At that point, Sutton needed a miracle anyway, to be fair. It was basically done. Chilton was swept off. Oh, hang on. Let me start that again. Writing.
Teeth in, mate.
And reading my own writing was the problem. Chilton swept into first at paddock off the line. A really nice sort of start. And Camish bit bogged down, maybe.
Little.
You thought maybe he moved at the start? Obviously, he hadn't done, but to the naked eye.
When we saw the replay, I thought, has he crept slightly there? But I think I just blinked at the wrong time.
Fair enough. Morgan was then tapped wide by a Rowbottom, which wouldn't be his last discretion of the weekend.
He certainly had some incidents this weekend.
Yep. And then, as I was running down the back straight on lap 1, Camish seemed to forget what team he was driving for, because Ash Sutton was trying to come through, and Camish very violently, in my opinion,
closed the door,
chopped across.
Yeah. Yes, that door was firmly shut in Ash's face,
which I'm stunned about.
Yeah, so am I.
I thought you just leave yourself wide and just accept you're going to lose.
The earliest opportunity,
you've got to get Ash through.
On a medium tyre, you need to move him through the field.
Particularly as Ingram had already come through at this point as well on the soft and was going up the field, and let's be honest, was guaranteed to win race 2.
Yeah.
So you had to get something through at the earliest opportunity to give him any chance of getting in Ingram's mirrors. And
by the end of the race, it didn't actually matter because
it
make
didn't
his way through. But to give him the best opportunity, he could have possibly gone and fought Ingram and made him make a mistake or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's been a couple of times this season
there have been questionable decisions by drivers in the same team.
Yes, I was about to say there's been a couple of times this season where I felt that Sutton's had it harder than Ingram in getting past his teammates, which is probably not a good place to be.
No.
However, talking of Ingram, he was able to take the lead on Rainford with a 10 out of 10 move, usual Ingram stuff. Just as I said earlier, I was ratifying the results and our predictions, and obviously I had to listen to snippets of the podcast to get to the predictions. And I did say earlier on, do we think we'll see a more robust Ingram at any point in this season? And we did, because he didn't have to make this sort of move. It could go wrong. Didn't.
But I think he was very aware, and coming into this weekend, being the first time that he's actually led a championship going into the final weekend as well, he's very much attacked this season with a different mindset, and it's been not all out attack, but very much on the front foot, shall we say.
Agreed.
And not just sitting back and waiting for things to happen like that classic Turkington way of winning things. He's gone out, he's grasped it with both hands and gone, right, I'm going to win this myself. I'm not going to allow it to be down to anyone else.
Agreed. Sutton was still stuck behind Camish at this point, and the move to get past him wasn't an indicator on it. It was kind of, because we discussed on your predictions was that both cars would let him by, and we don't really feel it was a let by. He had to sort of set it up, and
he definitely had to work for it. Yes, Camish didn't make it difficult, not like they were racing earlier on in the season, but it certainly could have been easier. It could have been a let by on a straight or a missed gear, shall we say.
Absolutely. Up front, Rainford had a little bit of a slide, which allowed Sutton through, and then Rainford really dropped back at this point. He just sort of unsettled himself through the for the, what do you call it, the forest part of the circuit.
Back of the circuit. It was really weird, because I thought he'd like properly run wide and got some dirt on the tyres or had some pickup and lost a lot of momentum. And then I thought, hang on, no, he's got an issue here, isn't he?
Yeah, because he sort of slid wide on the curb, bit of a power slide, and then you think, I think maybe in his mind, he'll puncture race one. Do you just slow off, check all the tyres are okay? We've seen punctures in that part of the circuit quite a lot in the past. It's a tough part of the circuit. It doesn't often get raced on, don't forget.
It certainly wasn't as big an issue as he then had. No,
we'll get to that in a moment. Sutton was able to get past Rainford with no dramas. Camish followed through, as did Rowbottom, and Hill was closing in behind. Rainford was then off at paddock.
Quite heavily, I would say, as well.
To call the safety car. Now, on initial viewing, I thought he's lost it. He's dropped it again, because we hadn't seen what had happened at this point. All we saw was cut to Rainford in the barrier,
sideways,
unable to get the car door open because of how much it had dug into the gravel. And I thought, I must admit, at that point, I thought, well, he just dropped it on the outer part of the circuit.
It would correlate with a suspension damage or a toe link or something.
And actually, I think you said toe link, didn't you? You said toe link. Replays didn't really fulfill our theory somewhat, because
they certainly put someone at fault.
Because Aaron Taylor-Smith seemed to forget how to brake into a corner.
The only snippet of
I know what you're going to say. It bounces a bit.
It is. As soon as he sort of like lurches onto those brakes, he hits a bump.
But bump's been there all weekend.
It has, but that will push the pads back away from the disc. You lose the ability to slow down as quick as you want to slow down, and he used Rainford as a brake.
Agreed, but I think that bump's been there for the last 10 years. I mean, it's not exactly a bump that's a surprise.
No, I know, but
I'm saying this is a very clumsy move, and I'm saying it's a little bit Aaron Taylor-Smith.
I'm not completely dismissing it. It was certainly Aaron Taylor-Smith's fault, and misjudged, mistimed, whatever, had consequences.
Yeah, and you have to feel for Rainford at this point, because obviously the way the Jack Sears had gone in race one, he was leading Jack Sears at this point in race two, and would have really put down a marker for race three.
I think that would have basically locked down the Jack Sears for him if he'd have managed to finish inside the top five.
I don't disagree.
So, unfortunate.
Unfortunate for him. The safety car was called, car recovered, and then Cook decided that he was Team Rainford and wanted to give Aaron Taylor-Smith a taste of his own medicine, because Aaron Taylor-Smith would then be off at Druids. I was very excited, because I did have a prediction this weekend that a car would need to be recovered with outside assistance from Druids.
It was a decent accident. Something that was then replicated in race 3.
It was a remarkable accident. I will say, similar to what we'll discuss in race 3, Cook does hold his line.
Yeah.
But I also think he's your teammate. Just
back out of it.
Yeah, just come off, just coast a bit here and just roll out of this one.
It was that kind of end of season feeling and going, I haven't got to fix the car after this.
Yeah, so basically Cook's on the outside. The outside as you come, no, inside a paddock actually. Inside, so you'd have the inside for Druids.
The inside.
Yeah. There's a little bit maybe around Taylor Swift chopping across him.
Leaves his nose in there.
Yeah, I think both drivers could avoid it, but I think you would put more blame on Cook than Aaron Taylor-Smith personally.
Yes, agreed.
That caused another safety car. And then during the safety car, Chilton randomly decided he fancied seeing what all the fuss was about with Druids, and he was off there as well, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, I think it certainly caught Sutton by surprise because Chilton was slowing down on the right-hand side, coming out of that dip at paddock, going up to Druids. And
well, don't forget Sutton's been done for passing under yellows already this season.
Sutton didn't want to go past him. And then as he sort of like straight lined across the track in front of Sutton, pulled off to the left, Sutton had no other choice but to go past him at this point, which I think you can just see in the replay that Chilton's got his indicator on. Yeah. There is some sort of problem.
It's clear that before anybody in the Tom Ingram fan club starts shouting that Sutton's made a safety car infringement, he hasn't.
Yeah.
You are allowed to pass a car that's got a problem.
Yes.
It's got a clear problem, and that is a clear problem.
Yeah, and I believe it was an alternator issue.
It was an alternator issue,
charging, no power, no electrics.
He was able to get back onto the circuit and sort of limp it round back to the, not the official pit lane, but the link
back of the paddock.
Yeah, the bottom of Graham Hill Bend, which is able to sort of at least get him to a safer position and speed up the recovery process of a stricken Aaron Taylor-Smith. Sutton, of course, was able to elevate himself into second with this and maybe give himself half a chance to go after Ingram. I will say, obviously, I was a little bit down on Camish earlier for not letting Sutton through. I thought at the restart he did a really good job of blocking the field back, so it felt like Camish had a deliberately slow getaway to safety car to give Sutton a few lengths to go after Ingram without being any pressure and be behind.
It was going to be Sutton's only real chance to try and make anything happen if he could. Yes, there was a massive tyre discrepancy between the two of them, and it was likely that Ingram was just going to then scarper off into the distance, which he did. But that was the best opportunity that Sutton had. And
there was, of course, a tyre crossover point where the softs go off and the mediums sort of stay on. And if Sutton could have got past him in those corners and then the tyre crossover came, who knows? But as I say, I will give Camish a little bit of credit because he did sort of hold back and block the rest of the field off and make any problems. Shedden then had a little bit of a nibble on the back of Proctor. Nice to see two stalwarts of the series having a little race of each other. Then Camish sort of fell back a little bit. Proctor came through on him. Cook was through on Hill behind that. And then
he'd run out of TTB fairly early on in the race and just had nothing to defend with, especially with those cars coming from behind with more boost available. You didn't even notice that Proctor had got past him, did you?
No. I did notice that Shedden got past him because he went past with a bit of a Billy Big insert of a B here move on Camish, which is, as I say, the confidence that he's now got in that car with an engine that actually isn't powered by a hamster and a wheel is remarkable. However, Ingram would come through to win the race, and in doing so, would win the 2025 season. He had to effectively finish.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler. Sorry, guys. He had to finish in front of Sutton, which he did. And Sam will give you the finishing order now.
Yeah, so Ingram from Sutton from Proctor. Proctor's podium going completely unnoticed because of a certain championship win. And then Gordon Shedden in fourth from Camish, Rowbottom, Hill, Cook, Moffat, Morgan. Smiley all the way up to 11th, followed by Osborne, De Leon, Doble and Lloyd.
If I may now bring penalty corner, because there is something interesting here as well.
Okay.
Quite interesting. So, Aaron Taylor-Smith, who has already got a bit of a loyalty card at the Stewards bus this weekend, received an official reprimand and 2 penalty points. Have you heard this one before? For causing a collision and gaining an advantage. That's one way of putting it, for an incident involving Charles Rainford.
Lasting advantage.
Senna Proctor received a written reprimand in round 29 for gaining a position as a result of contact and not allowing a car's whip to the edge of the circuit.
Okay.
Not sure who that was on.
No.
Could have been anybody in the pack. You'll notice that's the end of the penalty corner for race 2. So Josh Cook
got away scot-free.
Which, considering what happened in race 3, is interesting.
That is quite interesting.
Shall we get to race 3 then?
Yes. So race 3,
ball number 9
didn't really mean anything in terms of the championship.
Well,
anyway.
It did.
We certainly had independents still to play for. We had Jack Sears still to play for.
Teams and
manufacturers, which Gal was keen to point out on the grid.
Yeah, I think he'll be slightly disappointed that we've had a bit of a lackluster season finale overall. It's certainly not one of the classics. But ball number 9 was pulled from the pot, which is a good number to reverse the grid. I like that. It's a good one.
Yeah, it put Moffat onto pole position from Cook, both on soft tyres for the start, as well as Hill and Sutton. Hill managed to jump Cook off the line, typical rear-wheel drive start, and was up there challenging with Moffat, sort of trying to run off into the distance. At which point, Moffat was under investigation once again for the start procedure. Didn't find him guilty for anything, and we saw the replays, and I didn't see him ahead of his grid box. I didn't see him jump the start. No. I'm not quite sure what was.
It's really weird.
Found.
I'm wondering if it was maybe personnel on the grid. They might have thought it was too late, or wasn't prepared to take the green flag lap, or went too slow on the green flag. Because the start, as far as I'm concerned, was absolutely impeccable. I couldn't see any problem with that at all.
No, Sutton had made good progress early on. He was 4th by the end of lap 1. He seems to cut through the field quite nicely. Soft tyre, it really did help. And then on to lap 2, managed to pass Hill quite easily. Halstead had a spin at Graham Hill on lap 3. Rowbottom and Camish had contact, to say the least.
Contact, okay.
Contact, I've put. Camish significantly out, broke the front near side wheel.
Suspension properly,
some form.
But did get a Mars bar, which, suspension versus Mars bar,
He was surprisingly quite willing to take his helmet off. Some drivers, when they're out of a race and it's all done and dusted, they go, okay, I'll keep the helmet on and trudge my way back to the pits. I think being the last race of the season, he was just like,
I think to a degree that sums
it over now.
I think that also to a degrry just sums up his season, doesn't it? That
it does.
I think he's kind of at the point of, I have to say, I don't think Rowbottom's covered himself in glory with this move.
No.
Let's not forget he has taken Sutton out in Donington.
It does.
And now he's taken Camish out. If you're Sam Osborne, you're worried. On the way home, as you'll drive down the motorway thinking, is that Rowbottom behind me? If so, I'm going to go into the services, I think.
We did say that Rowbottom was going to hop it sharpish out of the paddock after the events that happened. But yes, this would cause possible issues for the manufacturers and teams' championships.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Rowbottom is very similar to the Cook one insofar as
he did feel quite similar. He's
on the outside. I do think he's got way more time than Cook to back out of it. I do think that maybe with the Cook one, they've taken the view that Aaron Taylor-Smith chops over more than Cook drives into him, whereas on this one it just felt like, because I'm not saying this is what happened, but watching it just felt like Cameron was getting past, so Rowbottom just threw the car into him. That's watching is how it looked. I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's how it looked.
The replay from sort of like the reverse angle looking back from Druid down to paddock, it didn't look like Rowbottom moved from his line on that inside. And Camish was trying to close him out a little bit, and they've come together. Yes, it's had decent consequences. Which put the car off into the gravel, safety car called. But it didn't feel that much different to the Aaron Taylor-Smith one.
Yeah, I agree it doesn't feel much different. There must be a nuance to why.
There must be, yeah.
Well, unless, of course, that Toyota didn't put any form of appeal in anyway.
Possibly. Or there is data between the two cars that suggests maybe Cook was on the brakes and Rowbottom didn't let out a bit at all, or something like that. We'll get to the penalty applied for that at the end. But
yeah, based on the penalty, we might as well discuss it now, because it's only a penalty. It's only a penalty for that race.
How is it?
Yeah, it feels that there must be a high level of fault, because Rowbottom was disqualified from this race. Basically, he completely struck off. I think it was 4 penalty points is where he was given. Bear with me. 4 penalty points for causing a collision with the appearance of a lack of control over the car.
That's an interesting one, because I would argue that Aaron Taylor-Smith's incident with Rainford, he had less control of the car than Rowbottom had for this.
But is that because, as you say, there's a mitigating factor if he hit a bump, whereas there's no mitigating factor for Rowbottom? He should have control of the car at that point, whereas if your brakes failed, you can't have control of the car. But there's a mitigating factor to why you haven't got control of the car. Whereas in this one, as I say, it looked very much like, it just looked like a completely mad move.
It feels like a very heavy penalty, considering, and as you say, there may have been no appeal from Toyota to the incident that happened in race 2. But when you compare the two, they don't feel that different.
I agree. the last time I remember a driver being disqualified for an incident like that, and I could be wrong, but I think it was Andy Neat at Thruxton with Jade Edwards. Yep. I can't remember too many of these, so they must have really have some data that has suggested even that there's a lot of fault on the party of Rowbottom here, because that's a massive penalty.
It would be interesting to see, when earlier in the season they released the footage of who was at fault for a certain incident.
Oh, that was good. I liked that. More of that, please.
I would be interested to see what the throttle traces and stuff would be like for this one specifically.
I'm also slightly surprised, and then perhaps not surprised at the same time, that Napa haven't put out any form of statement today about it. Given how we see in other sports that the McLaren boys raced yesterday and how Zach Brown was speaking about that afterwards, I'm surprised there hasn't been either to say, we're not happy, we'll deal with it internally, or these things happen in racing. I'm surprised there's been nothing either way.
Yeah. As the safety car was called, Cook managed to make a pass on Moffat to get to the lead of the race.
Again, I'm not...
No?
I thought the whole point of the new digital dashboard was that the second the safety car is called, you get the light on. They raced a couple of corners.
I think it took a little while for the safety car to be called on this one.
Maybe.
It certainly did for the Aaron Taylor-Smith one as well. I do think that those calls could have been a little sooner, because you knew the car was off into the gravel at Druids. You knew it was going to need...
Cam's out getting a Mars bar, mate. It's fairly obvious that...
You knew it needed recovery.
He ain't driving it back.
From what I saw on screen, when obviously you see that safety car sign go up at the top of the screen next to the lap counter, Cook had already made that pass.
In fairness, we don't know how quickly the graphic changes to when the safety car's actually called.
But I believe it's done the same time at the timing, because the timing clicks over at the same time when they go over. But so Cook managed to get to the lead before the safety car. The safety car was out for a little while, I think 3 laps.
I do think, we should go back to the old rules on this, that you race to the boards and then...
I don't like that.
The board is after the incident.
Yes, but the boards also go out both ways around the track.
True, but then...
Whereas the lights are instantaneous.
But then these were racing a fair few corners, which is...
I think it's when the call comes from the stewards. Or from race control, should I say.
I'm not overly convinced Cook was ahead at the point of the safety car being called either, but they were so close to each other. I'm not. And again, what point do you take it?
Yeah, that's true. Chilton deciding this needed to be a time for him to also depart the race once again during the safety car period.
He'd had a good season. He'd done what he needed to do. He weren't scoring points this weekend.
He parked up at the bottom of paddock just to watch the rest of the race go by. We had a safety car restart on lap 8. Ash managed to get past Aidan fairly sharpish after that, and then De Leon and Rainford managed to fall through the order, coming together at the restart somehow.
Again,
we just saw them fall down the timing tower. Harvey, I think, mentioned it, but we didn't actually see anything that caused that to happen.
Not allowed to see.
And then Hill and Moffat had a decent little side-by-side battle.
Yeah, respectful between the two teammates, I have to say, particularly given they've both got, should we say, a racy side, should we say?
Side, yes,
yeah. No stranger to contact.
It was good to see both of those two racing, and obviously Hill, in his final Btcc race for now, he has intimated that he could possibly come back in the future, depending how his international racing goes. Then we had another BMW make a lovely dive bomb on Aaron Taylor-Smith into paddock. De Leon just sent it, basically.
Yeah, Taylor-Smith did have a problem.
Yes,
but
yes.
De Leon didn't know that, and the move was excellent.
Whether he clearly had the problem at that point, it did feel like very much the move that like Shedden made in race 2.
Yeah,
a lovely dive bomb. But then we did see Aaron Taylor-Smith slowing down with some sort of problem, although we never got to find out what that was.
I don't think anybody cared by that point. It was
at which point we had a little bit of action at the back of the field in this race, which was amazing to see, and we had some focus on it.
Yeah, and this is where I said earlier I was a little bit disappointed with some of the stuff happened in race 3 because of the way the scoring works with Independence, and it's worked all season. I'm not having a go at that. Lloyd knew by finishing he'd win the championship. So basically, when the going got a bit rough in here, he just went, see you lads.
I'm out.
I'm out.
First of all, we had Hamilton make a lovely
really good move
round the outside of Buxton, going on to the GP loop. Just seemed to hold it round the outside. Yes, he was on the soft tyre, so he had that little bit more grip. But yeah, a really nice, clean move and quite progressive from him.
Yeah, Smiley ahead had sort of backed everybody up, seemingly with a problem, and then had a problem no more.
It was really weird. He felt back probably 3-4 seconds and managed to bunch them back up, and then just went, "Oh, I'm fine now," and then buggered off into the distance.
Maybe tactical to see if Lloyd could get sort of roughed up in the pack. Maybe.
And then we had Lloyd looking for a pass on Mikey Doble. Didn't really need to. And I felt like some of the places that he was trying to put the car was more risky than it needed to be.
Yeah.
And then I think he came to his senses and realised that he did only need to finish the race.
Yeah, just sort of fall back a bit. He did say after that he's not used to racing that way. But he just had to get the car home.
It must be really alien for a driver to go, I've just got to finish. I've just got to keep out of trouble and it will be fine. Morgan had a late move on Rowbottom into Hawthorns. It was a nice pass down the inside.
Yeah, good pass. Yeah.
And then I think with Ingram having just passed him as well.
The usual defence put up by Rowbottom as Ingram came through. Yes. Yeah.
And then we had Hamilton passing Lloyd as well.
Oh, yeah.
He was looking competitive, looking racy. And yes, I know Lloyd wasn't looking for any sort of race in this race, but he did it with quite easily, and
he was on the pace. Yeah, he was on the pace. You know, I know House has been through the pits, but House was some miles behind, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yes.
So yeah.
And then we had very late on Shedden passing Moffat, just missing out on the podium, but getting up to fourth.
Yeah, really good.
Another good finish from him.
Really good day for Shedden. Yeah, really good day.
So the final race order finished as follows: Cook winning the race from Sutton from Hill. Shedden in fourth, Moffat fifth, Ingram sixth, from Morgan, Rowbottom, Proctor. Osborne won the Jack Sears in this race, and I think for the weekend as well.
Correct.
Followed by Patterson, who won the Independents for this race, and then Rainford, Smiley, De Leon, and Doble.
Right, we shall bring you up to date with the final standings, the driver awards, and our predictions after this short break. The 2025 champion may have been crowned, but there's still so much more content to come. Not only have we got our award show coming up in December, where we'll crown the predictions winner, both for the race weekend and the overall positions. We'll be giving out our best livery award, I don't know yet, anything else really in between.
Yeah.
There'll also be plenty of other content as news breaks throughout the off-season, so make sure you are
subscribed. Get that bell on down below if you're watching on YouTube, and make sure you're subscribed on all podcast platforms so you don't miss an episode coming out. We are, of course, on social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We will bring you updates throughout the off season, especially of any breaking news, which we're scheduled to have at the end of this month from a certain Mr. Plato. But yeah, keep in touch with us and we'll keep you up to date.
Back to the show. Right then, we'll do a quick roundup of the final standings. So I'll go from the least important first. Ingram won the Wingfoot, as I said, 143 points to 135 with Camish. Dowd and Leon finished third in that, which I think is an incredible effort.
Wow. Did you see how big his foot was? Sorry, trophy.
I was going to say, I don't say
at the end.
No, and was it made of bronze or?
It was heavy, apparently.
Right.
Quite significantly heavier than some other trophies.
I'll Google that later. But yeah, I think Dowd Leon in third is a really good effort, to be fair. Yeah,
it helped obviously by the two pole positions that he's had.
He's still got to take them.
Yes. But finishing on the same points as Ash Sutton shows that certainly on a one-lap pace, he's certainly got it. In the Jack Sears, Darryl De Leon won that by 3 points from Charles Rainford. Throughout the season, De Leon took 9 wins, 9 seconds and 3 thirds, compared to Rainford's 6 wins, 12 seconds and 4 thirds. So very consistent from the pair of them, and it really did come down to fine margins. Yeah, the two drivers we thought were going to challenge for that, especially being in that BMW WSR. Agreed. The independent teams, we knew coming into the weekend that Restart Racing had already won that. In the independent drivers, Dan Lloyd took that relatively comfortably-ish in the end.
That's 5 points he won that by effectively. He took 9 wins, 6 seconds and 5 thirds. Mikey Doble finished second with 6 wins, 4 seconds and 9 thirds. Chris Smiley, it really did get away from him. 10 wins.
The fact that he had the most wins and finished third in that,
and the most seconds.
Yeah,
8 seconds and 3 thirds, but certainly the second half of the season just seemed to get away from him a little bit.
Yep.
In the teams, we saw Napa Racing UK win that by 2 points over Team Virtue.
I don't remember a teams and a manufacturers championship being this close at the end of the season.
No,
separated by single points.
I would agree with you, because in the manufacturers, Accelerate won that 842 to 839 Alliance Ford. Who would have won it? You have to say, had Camish not been yeeted into Sussex. I'm trying to think of
the abyss.
Geography. And then at the top of the tree, Tom Ingram, 462 points to Ash Sutton's 428, so a fairly large gap in the end. 7 wins, 8 seconds, 3 thirds. Sutton had 5 wins, 7 seconds and 5 thirds. Both of them scored points in all but one race this season, which is an incredible feat from the pair of them. They have been the class of the field.
They certainly have. We've had 4 new winners this season as well, in Mikey Doble, Daryl De Leon, Charles Rainford and Sam Osborne.
I think we had 13 different winners overall, with Cook winning yesterday as well. So yeah, competitively, whilst it's been only really 2 for the championship, we have had some good moments, and we'll look back on those on another pod. We'll jump into, do you want to do awards or predictions?
We'll do our awards first of all from the weekend.
Go on then.
We agree on Driver of the Weekend, mainly because he's won a championship.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Tom Ingram. Yeah. Competently went out there and grasped it with both hands.
Did everything he needed to do and gave himself a race to spare to have a bit of fun in.
He did, yes. We also agree on the villain of the weekend, a certain Mr. Dan Rowbottom, although I think Aaron Taylor-Smith probably needs a note
honourable
there
mention.
As well.
I think ultimately the Rowbottom issues, shall we say, had a bigger impact on the relative championships.
Certainly did.
Obviously, disqualification is never good on your CV. And just throughout all the races, he was just involved in incidents. Just involved. It's really sad in a way, because at halfway through the season, we were like, this Rowbottom is the best we've ever seen him drive. You know, he's really comfortable.
He could competently finish third in the championship, and he ends up finishing 5th.
Yeah, he's taking race wins. He's on the podium. Thruxton, he was making some ridiculously good passes all weekend. Good weekend at Croft. And then, the last 3 races, it's just all fallen apart for him.
It has a little bit, hasn't it? My surprise good for the weekend was Josh Cook, obviously taking his win this season. Almost feels a little customary for Cook to get a win, but he showed good pace this weekend, and it's a case of what could have been if he was in that car from the start of the season, and if that car had the M Sport engine. Yeah,
my surprise good was Dexter Patterson took an independent win this weekend. Wasn't horrifically off the pace in the mid-pack either, and it seems almost condescending to say, but a weekend of no issues, just sort of went about his business, scored in all 3 races in terms of his independence, and did what he needed to do this weekend.
Yeah, my surprise bad is actually Aaron Taylor-Smith, obviously with the incidents that he got caught up in, a little bit of unreliability along the way. When you compare it to Shedden and Cook and the weekends they've had, it's what could have been for him.
Agreed. I've gone for Chris Smiley, just on the basis that didn't really make life difficult for Lloyd this weekend. Race 1, obviously Lloyd did a lot of the hard work in race 1, but Smiley has just fallen off the pace a little bit in the second half of the season.
Really disappointed that he hasn't managed to take home the independence title, especially in the position he was in.
Or outright win, because at the start of the season, the way it was going, I think we both had Smiley down for a win at some point, and
Dan's beaten him to it.
In every way,
Right then.
Right.
The important bit.
Predictions. You were 2 ahead coming into...
3 ahead.
You were 3 ahead, coming into the weekend. We both got a point in the general one, so Rainford for pole for me, Hill for you. Neither. BMW. We were right for BMW at least.
We were. We just chose the wrong one.
We got the wrong one. You got no race winners, whereas I got 1 race winner in Cook, which I'm quite happy about, to be fair.
You've played that nicely. I honestly thought Sutton was going to go out and take at least 1 win this week.
I can understand that, because that's normally what he does. And then you did get a point, however, in the...
Dare I say...
Go on.
Is that the first time we've got Jack Sears right this year?
No.
Okay.
I got Pearson right, and I also got...
it feels like it's been a long time.
I got Dorlin right when he came in, and you allowed me to change earlier in the year at Alton Park.
Yeah.
So we have had them right a couple of times. It's just felt that every time we picked the wrong BMW, basically, which I did this weekend because I went for De Leon, and I must admit, when he stuck it on pole,
you were looking.
I was looking quite happy, but that didn't work well. In the general, this is where I really need to pull things back, and I did get 3 right. So I had Sutton to outscore Ingram in all 3 races, but not enough to win the title, and that didn't even come close.
Not even in race 1, mate.
I had at least 1 car when he'd recovering from Druids. 2 needed, so that's a point for me. Not a point each, just a point overall. And I had Toyota to score at least 1 podium. Cook doing that for me in race 3, and then in I'll come back to the bingo. We'll come back to bingo because yours is quite easy to get through. You scored no points. You had both Rowbottom and Camish let Sutton by.
Yeah, that didn't pan out as I expected it to.
You must have been quite happy at the end of qualifying, seeing them both ahead of them on the road.
But definitely. Yeah. I thought, yes, this is the prime opportunity.
It's almost like Camish sort of heard that and went, and I did that personally. Didn't want to let him through. But anyway, you had the Jack Sears and Indy leaders that not to win their respective championships.
There were times across the weekend where I thought that was going to come to fruition.
Not really on Independence. More so on the Jack Sears, but you needed both.
Yeah, I know.
So, and you had Cook, Aaron Taylor-Smith and Shedden all to score a top 10. Aaron Taylor-Smith said, no.
He's really let me down on that one.
And then this is where you got yourself out of jail. Or in the first ad break.
Myself out of jail.
In the first ad break as well.
It was quite impressive that they did turn up in the first ad break.
So you won the coin toss.
Yes, I did.
Which is crucial because we'd have both gone for your opening one. You went for Guide Dogs, which was
the second advert on.
Yep.
I'm just putting that out there.
Yep. So you got a point for that. You also went for the Marie Curie Foundation,
which was about the 4th advert on.
But then the first ad break you were 2 up, which I was quite upset about. And you also went for the Poppy Lottery. I am stunned that didn't come in, I have to say.
I'm stunned we didn't have any lottery come up.
Agreed.
But, as I said on the preview, I mentioned Cataclean, and we saw that a couple of times as well.
Yep. Well, I also mentioned the lifeboats, and they came up, but I only got 1, so I went for the Flash Dust Mop, which didn't come in. I went for the Postcode Lottery, thinking the lottery would come up. That didn't come in. It was all about cats this weekend, wasn't it?
There was quite a lot of cats, yes.
And I had Stay Sure Insurance, which halfway through...
Quite a celebration from you.
Well, yeah, because halfway through the day, there was a different insurer on, and I was thinking, oh, no. But... all of this means, and I have been through the scores to ratify them, and I have to congratulate you, and you will be presented the award at the December award show. I think you've retained it, yes, because I've got the final standings one here. So you've retained the prediction one. Can you get the other one as well? Time will tell.
It would be nice.
However, until we get to open those sealed envelopes on the award show, I do congratulate you and say, well done, you have won by 29 points to 27.
One thing I must say, and there are other people out there that play the advert bingo. A shout out to Chip Howland on one of the touring car pages, who, with some dedication, I must say, noted down how many advert breaks there were this week.
Weren't enough. I've moaned all year for too many. We didn't get hot. They're all too short. There's no time for my adverts.
The adverts that appeared and the amount of times that those adverts appeared, and has actually broken it down into statistics. You know how much I love stats.
Yeah. Of course, his alternative championship will be coming in the off season as well.
Yes,
so if you haven't subscribed, if that's not a reason to, I don't know what is.
So there were a total of 75 adverts over the touring car show.
And I got 1 right.
You got 1, yes.
Splendid. I mean, you got 2, pipe down.
There was an average of 5.357 ads per break, which again wasn't enough for you. And he's noted down which ones occurred most often. And I must say, Guide Dogs and Mary Curie are right up there at the top.
Oh, I wanted Guide Dogs from the start.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, I hadn't considered Mary Curie, and you. That was a very good one on your part.
But Ancestry
and
Ryobi. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What budgets have they got for adverts?
Do you know what? Just a more annoying thing is that after you've gone, I watched some other telly, I watched the football, and we watched the F1 throughout the day. The amount of times I heard Hugh Dennis talking about the Flash bloody speed mop, and the one station I needed to be on.
I know.
So the end of that round, the points go to Sam.
Yes, thank you. Let us know your thoughts and feelings on this weekend specifically, and then make any suggestions for any awards you want to see us award at the end of the season. Fun, serious, we'll take anything really.
Yeah, you got to the start of November really to get those in, because we need a little bit of time to prep the show. So yeah, if you've got any award categories, by all means comment them, message us, whatever you want to do.
We're looking to do something a little bit different to last year's award show as well. So I put forward some suggestions on possibly any games we might be able to play during our award ceremony.
Agreed. Sam, final thoughts from the weekend, not the series. We'll do the driver grades later on, and we'll do a final sum up thought of the series, then words all in one place, unscramble them to win
a prize. Ingram quite comprehensively managed to seal the title this weekend. I don't think it was in too much doubt coming into the weekend either. It was nice to see that fight towards the end of the Independents and of the Jack Sears, and certainly the Jack Sears flip-flop both ways between the WSR drivers, with bits of unfortunate coming together and reliability issues, shall we say, which isn't always how I want to see it fought out. I'd rather see it fought out on the two drivers battling on track and swapping positions, but we didn't get that this weekend, unfortunately, and that's just how motorsport plays out sometimes. Yours?
Mine is just to say a massive thank you to anyone who throughout the season has interacted with us, whether online, in person, commented, reviewed, liked, shared, got involved. You know, this podcast is a silly little hobby of ours. Our friendship is built almost entirely on the British touring cars. We don't like each other outside of that.
And our football rivalry.
Yeah, we don't really like each other outside of those parameters. So yeah, just again, the support this season has been absolutely incredible. It's weird that we get stopped at events, which is just crazy. So thank you everybody for your support. And the final question that is really important to ask is, have you had your teeth whitened? See you later.